Welcome to Renovation Roadmap Live. This is an event that I run about 3 times a year, and it is a way for you to plan your project, your big extension, your renovation, your reconfiguration, your loft conversion, your garage conversion, and whatever big home improvements project you are planning to do. This is a way to help you to plan that out so that you can get clear on what your priorities are for your project and then make all the decisions at each stage of your project based on your priorities so that you can make sure that it meets your priorities. It's going to be on time, within your budget, and to the quality that you desire. And that is the whole purpose of this, is to help you get your project right for you, make the process work in the best way possible for you, and get the outcome so that your home at the end of it is more than just satisfactory. It's going to be have felt a lot less stressful, and it is going to have got you to that point of being like happy and relieved, and but not having gone through all the pain that you hear about and you see on like grand designs and stuff like that. So this is what it's about. It's about making it a nice straightforward process that you know exactly what to expect, and you can feel comfortable and confident that you're making the right and the best decisions for you. So there is an immediate access training that you get when you join Renovation Roadmap, and the live week is where you get the chance to submit your questions and get them all answered by me. I am Jane Leach. I'm a chartered architect, and I know I don't look it, but I have well over 20 decades of experience of working as an architect. And so I know a lot about this, and I've worked with hundreds of homeowners for their house extension projects since I set up my own practice back in 2009. So since then, that's all. The majority of my work has been helping homeowners, and this is what I know that having worked with hundreds of homeowners, I know what sort of questions are common and what sort of uncertainties and struggles there are with getting a project to happen. Lots of things can happen throughout the course of the project, and so this is my way to help you to figure it all out, understand what to expect from the outset, and to plan out your project, make your fundamental decisions at the very beginning so you can progress confidently. So today is the last day of the current Renovation Roadmap Live. The next Renovation Roadmap Live will be starting on Monday, the 29th of April. That's 2024. If you're watching this in the future, that's this year. And you can join right now and get immediate access to all of the training, the workbook, so that you can start to figure it out for yourself, and you could start to submit your questions to me. And then when we get to 29th of April, then that week, as has happened this week, you can go and look at the past 4 days, this week's worth of live videos that are on my channel, and you'll see the questions that I've been answering this week. You can submit your own questions that are personal to you, that you need to know, and you can submit those to me straight away. And when it comes to the 29th of April, then that week is when I will be going through, picking up all those questions and answering them throughout the week so that you can get answers to your questions. So the link is in the description and it's in the chat, so you can click on that to find out more and to get your ticket and get immediate access to the videos. And today's question comes from Rhiannon, and she said that we've been planning for a long time and saving to renovate our 2-bed semi. and turn it into a family home. And we finally managed to get our extension through planning permission. But in the time it's taken to do this, the quotes to do the extension are over double, and we can't afford it. And now we're trying to come up with alternative ideas. What should we do? We're happy to rejig floor plans, or if needed, go back to planning. We do have a budget to renovate and extend, and we will do stuff ourselves to keep some costs down, but the steel support, the new loft conversion and roof were around £20,000. Okay, so let's unpick this a little bit. So there's a few things to come up with here. So yes, this is something that I think it's really worthwhile everybody understanding. Anybody who is planning a project, a big project where you're looking at extensions, you're looking at structural alterations, and you're looking at something that requires planning permission, it takes time. And I know that I'm often asked, how long to expect. And really, it takes longer than you think is a basic answer. It can take quite a long time to get to a design that you like. Now, the way that I work is it's as efficient as possible, and it can make this process much faster. And so sort of within about 6 months, you could get into submission of planning permission. But often it's more like 8 to 12 months, and lots of things can happen during the course of a project, and it can take longer than that. And then when it comes to actually going into planning permission, there can be all sorts of things happen. If you have a listed building next door, if you're in a conservation area, there are lots of different things that can happen that then mean it takes a bit longer to get planning permission than you expect. So patience and having a realistic timescale for your project is crucial. And saving to renovate, I completely get this, saving to renovate and then having quotes, and then the length of time it takes those quotes go up. That's definitely been the case over the last couple of years, is that prices have been like rapidly increasing, much more than they have previously. That, over time prices do increase, but the last couple of years have seen a massive increase in prices and a shortage of tradespeople, and the cost of the products has gone up massively as well. So that's to be expected, that prices will increase over the time. So I've given this advice in one of the videos earlier on this week, was to overestimate how much it's going to cost you to do a design. First of all, get clear on what can you afford comfortably. Then overestimate when you're doing a sort of rough sketch designs. Overestimate the cost per square meter for both new build and any reconfigured space. Put a cost per square meter against those two. And then once you've got sketch plans that are, comfortably within your budget and based on a cost per square meter that is a generous estimate, then get some idea of costing, of more elemental costing, to help you to make the decisions about which design you're going to go for. In this case, that's what I would do. I would get a budget cost breakdown and find out how much these different elements are going to cost. It sounds like, if the steels to support the loft conversion are 20,000, then obviously there is some idea of a cost breakdown here, which is great. So it's a case of then, well, this is a value engineering, what we call in the trade value engineering process, where you look at what changes have the most value to you, and then what's that worth? How much is it worth to you to be able to do that? How much are you willing to spend to get that space? And then once you're clear on how much you're willing to spend, how much you're comfortably able to spend, and which is your priorities, that's when you start to then pull things back. At this stage, it probably does mean that you may have to go back to planning, but it might not be as hard to get planning. It sounds like, you know, you've said we finally managed to get our extension through planning permission. So it sounds like there was a bit of a battle there. It was not that easy to get planning permission, which can often be the case if there's something tricky going on. So what you may be able to do is, if you can redesign quickly or quickly enough, then it may be possible to submit a non-material amendment to the planning permission that you already have. So it's more of an adjustment to the existing planning permission, which is much easier to get approval for, rather than having to submit a completely new planning application. Although having got approval for something does mean that a subsequent planning application, you know, there's some precedent then, so it could be easier as well to get planning permission that way. So if that's been a sticking point, I'm not quite sure at what point there has been a delay, because there can be delays at many different stages. There can be delays when you're trying to figure out what it is you want. There can be delays when you're going through the design process. There can be delays when you've applied for planning, and actually getting the planning permission can take, you know, there's the statutory amount of time that it should take, but a lot of planning departments are overwhelmed by the amount of work and understaffed, under-resourced, and don't have the ability to determine planning applications that quickly. And there can be you know, a negotiation period that goes on, or you may get refused and then have to go to appeal, which then adds a lot more time. So, you know, I don't know exactly at what stage there was a delay, or you know, why it's taken a particularly long time to go through this process, but there are many different reasons why that could be the case. And then there are lots of ways that you can speed things up, but when you look at speeding things up, there can be risks involved. It sounds as though it's not really about time scale. The priority here is budget. The cost of doing the work is too much, and it's looking then at building less, making fewer structural alterations, and reconfiguring the design in such a way that it doesn't cost as much. Basically, reduce the amount of steel work that's going in, and it sounds like that's the key thing to do. And whether that requires a planning application, or a new planning application, or an amended a submission or amendment, a non-material amendment to the previous planning application, depends on what the final design is that you come to. But that's what I suggest you do, is really take a really big step back and go right back to, what do we really need from this house? How do we want to live? What space do we need to do that? How many people are we looking to accommodate, and what activities, and how do we do those activities, and how much space do we need for those activities and for that number of people to be doing them at the same time? That's basically how you figure out how much space, and how many spaces, and the configuration of the space and the adjacencies of the space. And then look at how you can achieve that in the smallest amount of structural alterations possible. And sometimes it's a case of completely, you might want to turn the whole thing on its head and reconfigure space that you already have, and minimize the amount of new build that you're looking to add. And then looking at, in terms of structural alterations, look at what existing structural openings do you have right now. Look at windows. They have a structural, a lintel above them. Is that a big enough opening for you to use without altering to connect, a new part that you might extend on to an existing, or not? these are the kinds of ways that you can go about looking at reducing the amount of structural alteration and reducing the amount of new build. And that's really the only thing you can do at this point is is to do that, or put it on hold and look at how you can generate a lot more money to save up more money and then be able to put that into the project so that you can get that end result. There's the two options really: wait a bit longer while you've saved enough to be able to afford it, or redesign it substantially to make it fit your budget. Two options really. I hope that's helped. To join Renovation Roadmap, use the link, and yeah, next live week starts on April 29th, and I look forward to seeing you there, answering your questions and helping you to start your project and progress it. Bye for now.